Hello, Ahmed.
Hello.
Friend,
Hey,
my
how are you?
friend. So good to
Good to
see
see
you.
you. How are you?
Very well. Very well. And you?
Fantastic. Things are just crazy. I can't tell
Yeah.
you how many things are going on.
Oh, I can only imagine. I know you.
No, I mean, look, we've unlocked a new world. I mean, people are all sort of building their own things now.
Yeah. So you've become the platform and people are building on top of it?
There's 9 countries and, it'll be in 30 countries in like a quarter. I mean, Brazil, South
Yeah.
Africa, South
Yeah.
America. I mean, UK.
It's
I
so
mean, it's
great.
going everywhere. I mean, it's
Yeah.
in Indiana, in the first state. So we're doing this
Yeah.
Craigslist model,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
we're dividing the world into, like it is right now, geographies, regions.
Yeah, sure.
And so there are people that are taking, it's white label opportunity. We have this model, it's a template. I mean, it's just all over it. It's fantastic.
That's
It's been
that's
great.
wonderful. Wonderful. All right. Are you still living in your San Mateo place?
Same thing. Yes. Nothing's changed.
All right. Good, good, good to hear. Ahmed, that's Bjornar. Bjornar, this is Ahmed.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Hi, Amit. Pleasure to meet you.
My pleasure.
And one more guy named Jarl will be on the call with us. And Ahmed, I saw a name from your side that might join us too.
Yeah, he might, but we have like multiple meetings today. For some reason, it was overlapping with some previous
Yeah.
stuff. So he's our head of product,
Yeah.
but I will do the demo.
Oh, no problem. No problem. It's just great to see you again.
Yeah, it's been so long. I mean, congrats on the gin. It's just like I read the stories and the notes you send. It's just so great to see. It's just,
Oh, yeah. By the way, we're gonna jump in on the shop type,
on
of course.
on Spiritful. So we're going.
Yeah.
I'll show you today. We're going live in
Yeah.
the UK with that Spiritful in the coming, like I think next month or something. It's not later this month. So it's gorgeous. We've got some great gins going on there. So we'd love to have yours.
Yeah, we're doing a direct to consumer through an e-commerce channel in Switzerland, bypassing importers and distributors. And it's just a guy. It's a guy who said, I'm going to open up an e-commerce channel, but he acts as an importer. So it's kind of interesting because moving into Spiritsful would be a perfect fit.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yep. Very exciting. And we have that distillery down in India. You have to see it someday, and see they're doing contract work for so many. Even this, you might hear it in the UK, it's called Greater Than Gin. It's become a somewhat popular thing. So that's being done out in Goa by us.
Well, I tried that whiskey at your place.
Wasn't it good?
It was really good. It was really good. Yeah.
And we can get that thing into the country at $3 a bottle.
All right. And here, let's see. Jarl, meet Amit. Amit, meet Jarl.
Amit, how goes
nice
it?
To meet you. Very good. How are you?
I'm kicking ass. How about yourself?
Yep, can't complain.
Very good. Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
so,
pleasure.
The awakening, is that what it says?
The awakening is now, it says.
Okay, very good, man. Very good.
All right, let me set the table here for the gentlemen who are present. Amit, I have told you that we are starting together a venture fund. It's for companies that have already achieved a product market fit and who are looking to scale.
Yeah.
And so that's who the three of us are. And so that Bjorn and Jarl, you guys know, Amit and I were introduced about 7 years ago, and we became fast friends. Amit is both an investor and an advisor to Predicta from early days when we were still called Jaman, actually. And but the reason we're talking today is less about history and it's more about the future, because Amit has developed and is in the process of furthering the expansive vision of a brand new e-commerce network around the world. And he has multiple entities that his world has created. One of them is called Shoptype. One of them, which is dedicated to just spirits, where A-Land will be pushing its product, is called Spiritsful. He has a venture arm called Awake VC. So there's a multiple pronged fork that Amit is biting off. It's a big vision. What I've asked him to do is talk to us about the world of Shoptype, because it is a new next generation. It's next generation SaaS from every aspect: architecture, technology, lack of centralized, but still in the cloud. It's next generation applications. It's a way for small people to bypass the rigmarole of Amazon and do things directly, consumer to supplier and supplier to consumer around the world. And so I want us to know about Amit, because regardless of what happens, and I think there's an interesting fit here for us to explore, but regardless of what happens, it's important for all of us to see what next generation minds and technologies are doing. Okay, so I'm setting the table.
Very
Yeah.
high praise.
Thank you, Roger. So can I ask a question before we get going?
Yes.
First of all, it's probably not going to be a tall order for you, but Roger's built you up as quite the wizard. So you got a job set out here, because Roger's talking extremely favorable of you. So this is going to be a lot of fun. And just based on what Roger just said, as a VC fund, that we're now trying to be, if you can pull off what Roger's talking about, it will be extremely disruptive. And disruptive is one of the key words that we are using in what we're doing, because we really are looking for disruptive, if not technologies, disruptive companies with disruptive business models that have a different playbook that can really, fight against the incumbents. And quite frankly, I wouldn't mind at all that somebody broke up the power of Amazon. For the longest time, I didn't use Google because I didn't want it to be so powerful, and I used other alternatives. Then, of course, I have Björn with me, who's a Google man, so I don't have much choice. But starting off, could you say a little bit about your background, where you're coming from, and how you ended up where you are now going to tell us what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So background, I grew up in India. Bangalore, and
Bangalore.
during the I think I grew up I was born in 80, so I'm 40, right? So that means I grew up in the time when internet began to come out. 95, when internet was first out, I was 15. I was, doing all the stuff. I hacked the local, it was very expensive to get internet access, in India. So I hacked the local government servers, got all the passwords, and using it for free. It's great. And back in the day, when Dad was like, "What the hell?" And anyway, it's like, it's expensive. I was saving money. And
that was back in the day when people had this crazy idea that you had to pay for internet access.
They still do that, right? Like, it's the worst and most expensive internet in the world in US. Like, so expensive.
Because I feel like it's all free, just getting the access.
Like, it's like, when I say free, it's like, Comcast is charging you like $100 or whatever it is, like roughly, which is compared to the speeds and, how you get access, like in Korea or Japan or any other country, which is really advanced. I mean, this is, terrible. Even India, the cost of internet is like $10 per month for people, right? So it's like 10 times lower and faster speeds. So like, it's not what I would call the, most advanced. And if you go into the rural and all, in the Silicon Valley, I have call drop. It's terrible infrastructure. So there's a lot of issues, I would say, right? But going back to that, I grew up with Silicon Valley dreams. in my head, like reading all the books and everything. And so Roger will tell you, I told him during my, what shall I say, after Runa, when I sold my first company and everything else, life teaches you lots of things that, just one dream is not going to get you everything. So I had this one dream growing up. I want to be in Silicon Valley. I want to be the tech thing. I would keep reading all these great names in the, in the magazines, right? San Mateo, California, this company, that company was so cool. But then, you end up doing all of those things. And that first story, let me tell you about what happened. So I ended up building a company. I ended up in the Valley in 2000. So first of all, I moved to the country when I was 22, out of college, pretty much. I was at IBM for 6 months. I hated it. And I left and I joined a very small boutique firm that moved me to Chicago almost immediately. So I ended up in Chicago. I was doing consulting for a number of years, flying around Monday to Thursday, learning all about like business, very interesting all over the place, very good opportunity when I was in my 20s. I did that for like 7 years, it was very cool to go to all these different corporates like hedge funds, banks, education, medical systems. I mean, all kinds of cool clients where we were sort of high-end consulting, boutiques, boutique consulting, geeks in parachutes, sort of a model, So very cool work. Learned the trade of building software that works at scale for these big, mission critical systems and so on. And they really in ThoughtWorks was, it's a guild model, apprenticeship, journeyman, you learn the trade of writing software and building systems and all that. It was very much a artisan kind of a thing. And it still is, right, as we know. So that's why I really enjoyed it and ended up at Google. In fact, it was with them in 2007 and 8 when we were working with them to help the Chrome project. So Chrome was not yet out, and we were helping them test Chrome at massive, parallel testing. So, millions of websites, every day they would test, and we would do image analysis and automated testing and all kinds of crazy stuff to help them release a new browser into the world where it has to work pixel perfect, just like, the existing browsers of the day, Internet Explorer and Firefox was the primary, Safari as well. So that was what I was doing 2007, 2008. It was so cool at Google to kind of see the culture and everything else that I knew that I had to not get stuck there, And so I left very quickly to find the first startup experience that went somewhere significant. And it's called Runa, R-U-N-A, which we joked later on stood for Revenue Ultimately Needs Algorithms. So that was also the goal. We wanted to make a currency that would sound like a Runa, 1 Runa, 2 Runa, like a rupee or something like that. So that's why we chose the name. Never really got to the currency stage. This was way before crypto, right? This was in 2007 and all the way to 2013. So just a regular in-network currency for loyalty. That was the original goal. And where we ended up going with that system was we ended up building a platform, AI as a service for all these guys, everyone except Amazon, right? eBay, Groupon, Staples, and all the smaller guys were using us to do everything that Amazon did very well, which is, real-time recommendations, upselling, cross-selling, real-time pricing almost. We were doing pricing at the session level. Literally, you would see multiple different pricing in a different session, based on what we thought was purchase intent scoring. And that goal was, profit optimization by giving away enough to make more sales happen while, maintaining profitability, right? So we were doing that in the cloud, merchandising basically, right? And then we sold the company to Staples. At that time, we were powering, like I said, most of the e-commerce guys. We powered even the eBay's fast and free little green truck logo that shows up that says this item will come to you in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. All that algorithm was my code back in the day, where it was the only real-time system apart from tax. And I think one other thing that they would call outside of eBay's own data centers. I mean, we had to co-locate it, but it was our code that they would call in every page load because it would have to ask the AI, what is the likelihood of this item? Because they have no logistics, only data to predict whether or not an item will reach you, eBay as an example. So anyway, that was Runa. We sold the company to Staples, and Staples put me in charge of their e-commerce thingy. And it was like a total disaster in terms of their, people like stuff. It was just like a total disaster. So total politics and all that stuff. And I had no clue about how to navigate that, back in the day. And so I just sort of flamed out big time, it was like not worth my time, I felt. And
And
this
by the
is
way,
like
you
2000.
guys, by the way, that's exactly when I met.
I was
Amit.
about to say that. Yeah.
He sold Runa to Staples, and one of our very first discussions after we were introduced was, Roger, how in the hell do I navigate the politics of a giant retail company that knows nothing about technology? And so that's when we started sharing management philosophies, the role of technology in these huge companies like Walmart and Runa, Walmart and Staples, and what the next generation was. And then take it to the next level. What did you start next?
Yeah. So in fact, I was helping you guys. I got introduced to
Yeah.
Roger at the time, and with Predicta, with what became Predicta. And of course, I had like retail in my head, so we were talking about products and e-commerce things. And then I happened to meet. So the problem with e-commerce is not that that the funnel. So it's a funnel, right? Every business is a funnel, and you're basically optimizing the funnel. And when you're doing e-commerce or any kind of transactional system, you have control of your funnel, basically. So you're optimizing it like Amazon does. But the funnel is only a portion of the opportunity online. You have to drive people into the funnel, which is called marketing, right? This broad thing called marketing, which today is dominated by Facebook and Google, right? And all the other digital media, whatever it is, right? And it's disparate platforms, totally fragmented, right? It's like Facebook and Google and Instagram and like 100 different platforms, 20, 30 big ones, and no way of finding out what is the single view of the customer, right? First of all, before you get to single view of the customer, you don't even have a proper integrated system, right? So this is the problem, really big problem of finding a way to see what the hell's going on in a business, right? So that is the fundamental data challenge. But it's also the biggest opportunity to reverse engineer the internet as such, right? Because if I can host, let's say, 1 billion people, then I can do lots of internet scale things. So that was the goal. How do I get access to 1 billion shoppers so that I can build the next big marketplace, right? So I started Quintype. I met this guy who was a media mogul from India, and he had just exited to Reliance, his whole empire. It was like 26 years in the making, 30 television channels, blah, blah, blah. So I said, dude, he's going to do this whole digital thing. And he had come to the US. He was doing some, meeting all these startups and stuff like that. And one of my friends calls me and he's like, hey, I've got this team from India showing up. And this guy, Brad, up in San Francisco. And he's running at that time, a somewhat popular newsreader app called Prismatic. And so these guys were visiting his office. He calls me. He's like, hey, this team from India is coming. Do you want to just like come by and just hang around? So I was like in that meeting just because I was Indian. That was my, qualification. And I met this media mogul who just exited his whole thing. He ended up, he wanted to build his next sort of digital avatar. Next his whole play would be digital. And his previous was TV. He had done Bloomberg and he had done like 20, 30 television channels in India, all the major brands from the US and, other places. So asked him, I said, what would you be doing, in terms of like, how would you build this? And he said, I'm going to go to Infosys. And I was like, what? There's no technology platform that they're going to go to like custom build something, right? And it was like totally, the opportunity that I wanted. I said, dude, just give me like $3-4 million. I will build that cloud, which is an end-to-end digital media, cloud for anybody that wants to use audience as, their thing. So I built Quintype. This was in 2014. Today, Quintype, last year we crossed 500 million people across the network of networks. So their customers like Bloomberg, Fortune, so many others, they power end-to-end digital media operations from content creation to social publishing, distribution, recommendations, monetization through like, advertising and subscriptions and just about anything that, online people need to do that, whether it's a publisher, newspaper, magazine, marketer, whatever. That's the cloud that was Quintype. And Awake started about 2 years ago. Long story, coming back to the circle here. What is it that the internet is? And why is it so expensive to drive transactions through the funnel and do this whole marketing thing? is because of the data silos that these, big tech companies have created. Because the business model is very simple. Take the internet, which is the internetwork of all networks, rather than being an open internet, simply create a big network that's a black box. Don't share data. Okay, and just gather everybody on top of it, just like what Walmart or Amazon did before. They gathered all the sellers, they gathered all the things, and then you arbitrage it. It's just you bring the suppliers together, and then you have a market. So if you bring everybody together, you have a big network. If you share data, you're like the open internet. If you don't share data, you're like Facebook and Apple and Google. And if you charge, 3% for transactions, you're like MasterCard. If you charge 30%, you're like an app store. But there's no difference. You're just connecting people and making transactions happen, right? So this is the issue. Just because they have these networks, they're charging people ridiculous amounts of money, A, transactionally, and B, to drive customers, which is the ad model. The ad model is this. You pay money upfront, and then I will not tell you anything about what happens with that money, basically. But I'll tell you approximately 1% of those people have bought something. That's it. Hope for the best. All right? And do it every day. And everybody does it because there's no alternative. So this is the existing internet. So what is it that we're doing at Awake? We have created a universal market network, which is a very simple thing because we actually don't need to go to everybody and connect them. What we need to do is just a way for any individual to use the internet like it was meant to be used, which is in a peer-to-peer manner. And all other HTTP protocol-driven networks like Facebook, Google, Apple, etc., are just subservient to this new network of networks, because we are the ones which are now ensuring that any media is placed on the internet network, which is our network now. We can track it, and not only is it fully trackable, but it's also shoppable. So now, no more can the platforms block the data. There's no data to block. We have the new network. That's it, finished. The nodes themselves transform from being trapped by the existing network into becoming the new network of networks because they're the same people.
Now, guys, now you know why I'm bringing ALAND to Shoptype, which is one part of the Awake VC world, because I don't have to go through these data siloed, old networks that monopolize me. All right.
So I have a couple of important questions here, and it may reveal that I'm not fully grasping what you're saying, but the first question is, are you going to be a platform or whatever you call what you have that connects different components, different people, customers and companies? Or are you also going to be involved in the trade of goods, meaning you put two guys together, I'm writing a book, Roger wants to buy my book, and you connect the two of us and the transaction happens. And to follow that up, if you're doing the last part as part of your network or the infrastructure you're building, how are you able to compete with the likes of the Amazon? Because there is a bookstore in Bozeman where I consciously go a few times a year and buy a book or two or three, because I want to have a place where I can walk in and smell the books and see all the racks of books that I'll never buy, but it is like brings me back to yesteryears. And we may lose that with the next generations. But to me, anyway, it's important to have an alternative to Amazon. But the issue is, when I go to Barnes and Nobles at the mall in Bozeman, I do pay 30 to 50% more per book. So, at the other end of this spectrum, Amazon is squeezing the living daylights out of these guys to have an attractive product that you can sell. So then that brings me to the actual question. It took me a little bit too long to get there, but how do you compete with an Amazon that is such a behemoth and is squeezing the suppliers so much that if you go purely on price, you're going to end up on Amazon?
Correct. So the answer is we don't compete with Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay, we are an Amazon of Amazons. First of all, from the technology layer perspective, enabling all networks that are doing what they're doing today, but are doing it with 40% extra cost than need to. First of all, right? Like that in their P&Ls. So the second thing is, what is value? That's the question that we are asking. And how do you co-create and capture some of this value that's being created somewhere? Whether it's in the new model or in the old model. Old model is clear. Amazon takes everything. It's a network takes all type of a situation.
So let me just stop. I'm sorry to interrupt. Let me stop you right there. It's very interesting what you're saying. You know, where does the money go? Because in the Amazon model, at least the perception is, and it might be close to the truth. You know, Amazon. I mean, I have a Prime membership, so that's like $100 a year. But I don't pay for shipping because of the Prime membership. So then, when I buy a book at $20, okay, obviously there's a layer of constituents that divide up that $20. And so if I don't, at least at the outset, pay extra for this, I obviously pay extra through the price of what I'm buying. But, you know, if that book I buy through Amazon, which I believe I get, you know, with no extra cost, costs $30 at Barnes and Nobles, okay? What is important is, you know, what does the seller of the book end up with? What does the author end up with? And maybe Amazon is squeezing those guys even harder. So if you do have an alternative and you throw out all the extra cost of Amazon, then basically you could still sell the book to me for $20, but the seller of the book gets, you know, 25% more.
Yeah, because we take it and turn the wholesaler into a retailer. You do volumes, do it direct, right? Bjorn, you had a question? Yeah,
Amit, so on your network, are you structuring existing data that is out in the other silos, or are you onboarding and accumulating your own silo?
Yeah, we are creating our own silo in the sense that we are the new network, right? So that part is true, but we are going to be more egalitarian about it. I'll show you how it works. So if I can do a quick demo, guys, then I think some of these questions will, start to have more shape. If I can do that, is that all right?
While we get that going, can I just give you a very short analogy? Okay.
Yes.
I've been working in the past with a company, and let me know if this is relevant or not, Amit. But I've been working with a company in Southern California called Green Fence.
Mm-hmm.
And what they're doing is, it sounds a little bit like what you're doing. They started with auditing the value chain for food companies and pharmaceuticals, all right? Then, for example, they saw that Coca-Cola had 200,000 suppliers. And the guy in, whether it's India, Africa, or in the US, wherever you are producing stuff, that person has to go to an agent. That agent goes to another agent. That last agent goes to a wholesaler. And then there's got this huge, long array of people, or, you know, parts of this value chain that cipher off money all the way. So what Green Fence was working on was actually for the Kenyan farmer to be able, more or less, to sell directly to Procter & Gamble or to whoever, and basically throwing out all or most of the layers in between that are very costly. And it sounds to me like what you're doing is a little bit along the same line.
It's exactly the same line. So we take it to the logical extreme and say, what is the most general purpose case of that particular thing? which is to take out all the specifics of anybody in the middle, take out all the specifics of the what product or service, take out all the specifics of where and which currency and how, and you just do the one function that is actually common to all such things, which is that this is a market network. It connects service providers, something you have to sell. It connects you to the buyers, and there's other people who can also come in the middle. And if they want, they can take some of the available profit and deliver the result. Right? So as long as there is an open way to arbitrage supply and demand, then there cannot be any big tech in the middle.
That's awesome. Roger doesn't like the word arbitrage, but I love it.
It's arbitrage. Buying and selling is arbitrage. You know, it's the difference between a buyer and a seller. The value is arbitrage. Otherwise, there is no question of value, right? Otherwise, I wouldn't care. Some number up and down, unless I see value, it is arbitrage for me. For other people, it's just, I don't care, right? So value and arbitrage are the same thing. And where does value go and where will it come from tomorrow? The future, as Roger said, is the question. And the answer is not from the networks. Because all networks, they do only one thing. They connect people. So in what way is that special? The value comes from the USP, unique selling point, right? Which is unique to somebody, you will pay for that. And what is the unique selling point of any specific network is the value co-creation, exchange part, where I'm able to connect to somebody else and actually do something, that able to realize the value that I see, which means I should be able to see the value and I should be able to transact it. Other than this, there is nothing. So when everything is automated, when everything is robots, everything is AI, right? Where does the value come from? When all networks are doing the same thing, they're connecting people. When everybody has a network, everybody has currencies, everybody is digital, everybody is online. Where does value come from? It comes from the people, individual, the service that you will get when you do something and when you meet a person. Human to human, peer to peer, consumer to consumer. That is the direct economy, and it has to do with people. Only people, when they're involved, they can add value, value added tax. Anything else is just going to be arbitraged away by machines. So the future is all about people. Who is going to get me the best experience with idling spirits? Because idling spirits can be brought anywhere. Right? So price is not the issue. Price is just how much am I willing to pay, but what else do I want? I want service, I want, all those other things, right? And that is what we enable. The people, 5 billion people on the planet making money with us, that's what we enable, because these people can now do anything they want and buy and sell. Does that make sense?
Yeah, this is your dent in the universe. I mean,
it's a fundamental thing. We are restoring the universe, not taking out all the dents.
I like it. Very good.
Because it's the harmony, one harmonious, perfect, synergistic whole.
Hey, Jarl, I love the word arbitrage. I built a $500 million software company on arbitraging derivatives. Okay, I love it.
I'm pulling your leg, Roger. Pulling your leg.
I know.
So
Um,
This is awesome.
Let me now give you a demo. Yeah.
You already got me sold on this. This is awesome. But please keep going.
Now I will show you how simple it is, because the technology, the theory and all that stuff has been there in the blockchain world for the last 5 years. But nothing has happened in Main Street. Everything has happened only in Wall Street, which is all just, you know what it is, Now let me show you how we are going to build value on our Awake VC will build value, So this is an example of a company, Goop. Okay, this is a DTC brand, which is worth about $3 to $4 billion. It was started by Gwyneth Paltrow. And you see how they're using content and commerce together. You see this commerce is embedded in this magazine kind of a thing. You'll see, $95 creams and things like that, right? And it's all over the place, And they're trying also to do the community part but very old school, like a magazine, ask Gene and ask this person, Megan, and all these things. But you can do this read plus shop. The ethos is very much content driven, community powered commerce. Okay. And they have about $3-4 billion in their P&L, their value. And their P&L contains the supply chain. They have their own products, their own partner products. They also have the marketing costs of creating this marketing, this Vogue-like magazine, So let me now show you one of Awake's networks. This is made and powered by Shoptype, the system we're going to talk about. And Roger mentioned, Spiritful, which is a very similar thing, but for wine and spirits. And this is for cannabis, right? In the US, it's a very large industry. It's likely to be about 5 times bigger than alcohol and spirits in the next few years. But, it has a very similar ethos. Very similar ethos in the sense that it's an end-to-end, content-driven, community-powered. In fact, the community, we go a step further and we create a full-on Facebook-like replacement for any vertical. So like an end-to-end, all the people are connected, brands, sellers, this, that, the whole end-to-end piece is available here for you to, see what is the community. But the difference between us and what you saw with Goop is that in our P&L, this is a totally decentralized economy. We are actually just connecting the dots. This is a network, and all the people, the content comes from content people. This commerce comes from the commerce people. You have to understand, just like alcohol, that cannabis is a highly regulated multi-tier industry. So if you see these shop in THC, for example, there's over 3,500 stores that we have loaded up from across the country. And it's like a Yelp, so you'll be able to, I'm here in California, right? And, I can see what is around me, and orders are routed to the actual dispensary, because as you know, we're a multi-tier market network with like a regulated space. We cannot do the selling. So you can be, all the different participants can join us. They are all the licensed operators, brands, retailers, distributors, the media partners. We connect all of them. And as I will show you now, how we make money using the co-seller model. Everyone is a co-seller in the Awake universe. And I'll show you how easy it is to co-sell and make money. So let's find a product that has a good margin. So this product is $130. This is a normal experience for buying and doing it on Goop. Also, you'll be able to do the same thing. You can buy the product. But here is something unique that we add to the internet. I'm just going to zoom in. You see, wherever the buy appears, there'll be a Pinterest or a WhatsApp or something. We add something new. We add this new feature where the vendor is able to say, look, the retail price is $130, but based on my wholesale price, I'm going to offer $46 for anybody on the planet to sell my products. And how do I do this? How do I make money? I just share this on Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, whatever, right? TikTok, I can send mail, I can do whatever I want. And how do I do up to this $46? Because normally in the affiliate world, this is the magic. No one can track what happens after that one click happens. When I click this link and I go to that page, whatever it is, and if a sale occurs, today, if it's an affiliate model using third-party cookies, you can track that. There's a whole affiliates, thing. But as you know, only 1% of conversion is happening, which means 99% of people are not getting paid. There's no way to know that they even helped in the sale because, people take 2, 3 clicks, 4 clicks, or whatever it is the journey is to make the purchase. 99% of people at any given point in time are not converting anybody, even though they might convert them later. So they're not getting paid. You see? So the only one getting paid are the salesy affiliate marketing types that nobody likes, right? And for rightly so, because all they're trying to do is get you to buy the damn thing. So you want someone who is doing authentic influencing or authentic, information or expertise, but not trying to do a pressure sell. Now, we are able to track the whole journey that no one can track, right? And pay exactly a part of the $46 that you deserve when the sale happens. I'll show you how the magic works now. Okay, I'm going to go to the back end and show you. Let me sign out of this. Okay, so this is called Shoptype. Yeah, when you come into Shoptype the first time, you will see that there are three types of, profiles. In the Airbnb world, there is a traveler. Everyone in the world is a traveler. And then some people in Airbnb, they are hosts. They have apartments. Here, you have something to sell. You could be a teacher, yoga instructor. You could be a vendor, like a shopkeeper, a Shopify store. You could have, any in-game items, like virtual items inside of a game. Like you could be selling anything, right? It doesn't matter, like we discussed earlier. And of course, networks like Weed. And in fact, I'll show you one other network. In India, there is a network called, company called Sheroes. Okay, I'm going to reduce the size because it's a mobile only experience. So here they have about 25 million women, and they have all kinds of communities, all kinds of stuff. So with us, they just launched now. With us, they call something Shiko, She-commerce. And the idea of She-commerce is to make everybody an entrepreneur. So Shiko, this is their portal. So they turned this massive women-only network into a Avon lady kind of a thing. And all these brands are coming from, our brands. These are all our brands that are onboarding here to sell through people, ladies. And these ladies are making, $300, $400 a month in India now in the pilot program, which is, like $5,000 in the US. It's like a regular salary, it's regular. They're all teaching each other why I should sell, how I can become an entrepreneur. They can, do KYC with us and start taking the money out. And you see these great brands, beautiful brands, all kinds of brands like, tea brands. And, you can just add to, like you find something you like, you just add it to your shop. And just go about your day. You can see how many products, lots of products. Like you see, like some home, some we just got the other day some. I don't know what these are, but a lot of products are coming. So I'm like not able to keep track. But the other day we got like, mattresses and inside like beautiful, furniture and stuff like that. Big ticket items. So they're all here, and you can keep adding to your shop, and they sell to your local people. So you see how Amazon moved the world from one mall in the sky, everything in the cloud, you don't have to do anything, to Shopify said, you know what, your shop, your store, your brand in the cloud, don't have to do anything, you just let us do it. To now, you don't even need a mall, you don't even need a store, you just need an internet connection. And you're able to buy and sell from the whole universe of products. And you can organize other people also. This Sheroes is an organizing mechanism. This is a network. So we are the network of networks, right? So this is an example. So let's go back to the backend. So that's a network. So let us go back as a vendor first to see what happens, right? So when you come in the first time, you will see no products. So this is how I've logged in as an Adora Therapy. Adora Therapy is a brand that sells perfumes. So they're a Shopify store. So if I go to Adora Therapy, it's a Shopify store. So you just regular Shopify, a little bit slow. But you can buy perfumes, etc., etc. So we don't touch the business. We leave it as it is, and we are able to pull their catalogs into our system. How do you do that? You will go to products, you'll add a thing, and you simply link to Shopify, WooCommerce, and any system that has an API. We support all the major, Salesforce, etc. So once you link it, you're able to synchronize your inventory. So we keep your inventory in sync, live sync. Okay, so we have your actual inventory, and how many items and all these things. The first thing we do, very simple thing, is we add a PIM, Product Information Manager, on top of the basic information that's coming from Shopify. This is coming from Shopify. We add a very significant amount of information on top of it, so that your marketing and your multi-channel partners and all the people, now influencers and agencies and all these people can have a single place of official content and information about your product. You can also add social listening and other things here. But that's easy. Let's go to attribution. This is the magic. Understand the journey of each product sale and see who needs to be paid. So you offer 30% on average. This is the default, because Apple, Facebook, Google all say 30. As you saw in Sheroes, all the brands, they're mandating 50%. So we're seeing 50, 40, 20, 30, it can go down to 15. Minimum is 5, we keep 5%. So they're free to keep 10 and above. Really, we say 15 to be, it's recommended. But we're seeing average of 40% in weed, for example, in the cannabis case. So once you put this number, you're basically done. And all these people, in these places like Shiro's and all that, here in Chico, they can pull the product and they can start to, promote it and sell it in their world. Now you can also add, if you want, this extra rules, which actually define how the funnel actually splits the revenue, splits the commission. So let's go from bottom up. These are the stages, So the last stage is what we call close, the person who closes the sale. This is the traditional affiliate model. We all know it. So let's say I'll give you 2 hours to close the sale live. Yeah, this is live game on the internet. 2 hours to close the sale. If you do that, you get 40% of whatever is available in the full cart, not just that product, whatever is going through the cart. And you can also earn the rest. If there's nobody, you earn all of it. But if you want to earn more, you can. The way you do it is you keep nudging them. You eventually tell them, hey, this is great, that is great, whatever it is. And if you do it, let us say within 2 days, you can earn another 20%. And if you do it, let us say within, 1 day, you can earn another 30%, right? And then what? 10% is still remaining. Let us say we can incentivize the introducer, somebody who introduces. If I introduce Roger to the network and Roger buys something every week, then here for infinite, let's make it 5 years. So for 5 years, I will make the 3% of every sale that Roger buys. So this is how I make money, how I can define my rules. Let's just see how the order comes through. So this is a bunch of orders. Here, $100 was the order. $70 was going to go to the vendor. The remaining is split. Let me zoom in a little bit. So here it's showing you the 4 stages, stage 1, 2, 3, 4, the close, Timothy, introduction, Vaibhav, right? These are the 2, Louis, Gloria. They all earn real dollars. And why? Because months ago and weeks ago, and then yesterday, whatever, they did something on the internet, like they shared your product. And then it was done on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever it was done. And they made this money live, real time.
Really quick, if you stop there.
Yeah.
You may get, if you come into it next, then forget the question. But, these money streams.
Yeah.
How do you handle the money streams? So Louis Dawson, is supposed to get $3.61.
Everything is integrated here. So we actually hold the money. We move the money around the world.
You got your own wallet?
We have our own virtual wallet. So we sit on top of existing banks. So this is another company within Awake portfolio. It's called Awake Money. So Awake Money, what it does is it sits on top of every single payment gateway and all these things around the world. And we create a virtual bank for the internet. It's a multi-currency global wallet, e-wallet. It's regular money, fiat money, and you're able to connect Stripe and your local PayPal, ACH bank accounts, etc. So we sit on top and make them basically, it's like a Stripe, the next generation Stripe, basically.
So then typically you have to authorize money flows, all right?
Right.
So let's say then, back to that Louis, she was going to get $3.61. Okay.
Yeah. So whenever I'm ready to settle it, I just go here and I settle payment. So it's a success, all a success. So when I'm ready to pay, I release the payment. So that's why the hold period. These are all holds. Hold. So the hold is set based on these rules. How long and
when you, let's say you settle, okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then Louis is going to get $10, and she's on this thing with Venmo, and John is going to get $10. He's using Stripe, and then Mary's going to get $10, and she's on PayPal.
Right.
Okay. So then, how
they basically
does your
connect
virtual bank actually make sure that those transactions happen?
Because what we are doing is simply allowing them to withdraw their funds. So they just request a withdrawal, and they connect their Venmo or whatever, and we move the money. That's it.
Okay.
It's their money. It's their wallet. All it is it's a virtual wallet.
Yeah.
And we are able to send it to any other bank institution, whatever, because it's an actual bank underneath. It's just a virtual layer.
So if I'm doing this through your network, I press settlement, and then you know, it from your platform, it goes to my money arrangement, and it,
Yes.
it happens that way.
Everybody gets their money in their own wallet, and they can withdraw it whenever they want.
Okay.
So what
So
is
there's
Shoptype's cut in this?
we keep 5% of every transaction, and whenever there is no, yes, of every single transaction. So every transaction we keep 5%, and we also are able to keep anytime a direct sale happens with us, because over time we expect, maybe 20% of time there is nobody in the middle.
But what happens to distribution? Who does distribution?
Distribution
If you're
is as
buying
it
a
is,
physical
right?
product, you're buying.
Distribution is as it is. We inject the order back into the Shopify store or the WooCommerce store or wherever it is at so like here's Adam CBD. So Adam CBD is a WooCommerce store. So when somebody buys on Beat and you check out a product, it basically injects it back to these guys. Yeah. So whatever their existing mechanism is to fulfill, they fulfill it. We are agnostic as of now. We simply offer the delivery service or whatever is available in that network. So if there is somebody available like in UK, all these messenger services are there, for delivering alcohol and all that, Hermes and all these people, DHL. So we just pick up whoever is in the network locally, and we are able to connect the dots. But the pricing mechanism and all of that is agnostic to us. If there is a delivery charge, we charge it. If there's no delivery, we don't charge it. It doesn't matter to us.
So, but then, let's say I buy something for $100, okay?
Yeah.
By using your network. My expectations are that $100, includes shipping.
That depends. I mean, in Shopify, that's not the case. That's not the case at all times today. For example, eBay, Etsy, all of them have charges depending on whether it's a free or not. So it's the same. We don't change that. So if the vendor is offering shipping, free shipping, it goes through free shipping. We just pick up exactly whatever the vendor does. So I can just walk you through that. So here you can just see, if I just check out here, it will literally go through checkout details, zip code, normal thing. So, I will literally check out normally. I will say my normal payments, etc., and, everything. So there's no difference. We don't change anything.
So so if I understand this correctly, so then you just get information from others. Like, for example, the good thing about living in Montana, where Roger and I are living, there's no sales tax. So whenever I buy something from Amazon, there's no tax on it. And then Amazon knows that.
Right.
And I presume you pick up the same thing by connecting these people and tapping into the vendor's system.
We handle tax and we handle all that. So in every country it's different. And we handle, GST, this, that, all that. So if some places there's no tax, like UK, it's very simple. It's all tax included. VAT prices included. We don't have to worry about it. So it's just set up based on the place where it's operating, and then it just goes right through.
Yeah, Europe is typically all VAT included in the official price.
It doesn't have to be. It can be with tax. So for example, in the US, it's not the case. In the US, it does normal tax.
But that's a big difference between.
Yeah, so we are agnostic. We handle all cases because we have to. We have to handle all cases. So the one last thing I want to show you very quickly before I end the demo, which is that as a co-seller, I'm in the US, but I could be in India, for example. And I come in here, I search for any product that I want to search for, right? Or any price range that I want to, find, even which currency, like I could start selling. Typically, I would expect the other way, but like, I'm sitting in India and I'm selling US products, right? And I'm making dollar money because I'm good at it. Like yoga products or this gaming or whatever, anything, any knowledge. I mean, at the end of the day, it's influencing, right? So either I can share or I can, embed these like Amazon associate program kind of a thing, or I can put it in my media properties, my blog or anything else. So this is where also media companies and agencies, they turn into big revenue streams because they now start to make money.
Yeah. So maybe you're getting to it, but so where are you at? I mean, how ready are you with, your platform or the network of networks I mean,
Yeah.
are you still developing? Are you in production mode?
We're
Are
in
you
production in
revenue?
multiple. Yeah, so it's like what Roger said. It's kind of in product market fit. We just built out the tech for the last 15, 18 months. We went to production about last like December, and last 3 months we've been in the India. You saw there's dozens of women now that are every day, a lot of orders. US we're live now. UK is going live very shortly. Let me show you. Oh, I showed you actually, right? Didn't I? Oh no, not yet. The Spiritful thing. Let me show you Spiritful. So, these are the current, we're live from a transactional standpoint. Technology is ready. We're just looking to scale the marketing, because we need support. We need to hire people to be able to handle the clients. I mean, we have a massive pipeline of networks that are building. I mean, really, for us, it's just a question of how do we handle this. So this is called Spiritful. Again, a mobile experience for the UK. And, very much focused on the gins and all those kinds of things. You can see, a couple of companies that we're beginning to work with, and still being tested. They're putting other products, yeah. So, but you can see it's a very similar experience. A kind of an end-to-end market network. It's still not live. It's still on the Webflow URL. So it's going live in the next month. So this would be beautiful brands that come to us here and start to load. They've got already quite a few local local distilleries and local shops that are setting up in the UK right now for launch.
Amit, this is great for me to see the progression. How many countries are you live in? And you will go live in UK, but how many are you already live in?
So India is live, US and UK. We should be live by end of March in Brazil and in South Africa. We're just doing some of the payments work there. We're just wiring up. We have another like almost 11 countries total, including Poland, South Korea. We're talking to Coupang, which is one of the biggest. Like it's like a Flipkart. It's a unicorn to white label our system. We're talking to these are the main Central America. Like the whole of Central America is signing up. Sri Lanka is coming on. So we have a pipeline. It's a strong pipeline. We can't do everything because it's a tiny team. But people who can bring tech, they kind of can go faster. So Brazil brought their own tech team, so they're going faster. So it's like that right now. Yeah. And then we have verticals. So there are a lot of different verticals which are launching. We have other verticals like Corner Network and others that have already launched in India. Because we test things in India, we bring them up to speed and then we roll them out. So that's been a very good model for us last 10 years.
So what are you in terms of? Are you a Delaware company? Are you a corporation?
Yeah,
in California?
we're Delaware Corp. Yeah. Delaware C Corp. Yeah. All the companies are Delaware C Corp. We're building out a very standardized sort of America-focused investment thesis. That the US is still the bastion of capitalism and will sort of save the, way things are.
So how do you onboard the vendors to the platform? Is that automatic that you just kind of collect the information, or how do you know the commission structure you get with the vendors?
They offer the commissions. They are free to change it, right? You saw how they can change that commission structure. So we tell them that they should put in, 30, 40. We started like in weed, we say put in 50% because they say, yeah, we can. Most people in weed are like comfortable with the 40, 50%. In other categories, it can be lower, right? So it's up to the vendors, So we don't actually mandate anything. We say that it's a free market. I mean, people are going to come. They're going to see how much money you can make. And they will pick products based on what you are offering them.
So what are your drivers for the cost of goods? Is it to acquire the vendors, or how does your cost structure look like?
It's basically to acquire. This is a multi-sided marketplace, right? So one side is the content and the other side is the commerce. Okay, so the way we are defraying the cost of really bringing on the co-sellers, our biggest thing is we are a co-seller network. So how many co-sellers can we bring on? That's our main thing. So the fastest way to go for us is to not onboard, either the commerce people ourselves or the content people ourselves. It's for us to go and enable other networks like Shiro's and another one in Motherly. In the US, we have Mother.ly. So I'm an investor there. They have, almost 300,000 women, moms, registered moms, and 3 million registered lady women in the US, right? So we're talking to them, turning on the same program for their women, right? And so
on the platform with the consumers, are you making some interactions between them, reviews, sharing? How does that work?
one more time, what's the question?
With the consumers, the people or the customers who pays for the different
Right.
product, are you making those guys talk together, or are you making those guys connect or share experience or reviews, or are you making those people connect on your platform?
That's right. So like, for example, Shiros, right? They are teaching those ladies to create content. Like you saw some of the videos and things like that, right? So the videos can be used to engage two types of folks, either direct people who buy from them or people who will join them to become co-sellers. Because if you remember, one of the things I should have mentioned, actually, let me show you this. This is very important. I should have shown you this. Let me just share my screen once more. Go back to the order page, and the order page open anywhere here. Let's see. Okay. So when the order comes through, there's one more very important number that should be shown here. So it's shown. So you see, these people earned the commissions. Okay. Now let's say that the person who owns this brand, Adora Therapy, okay, her name is Laura McCann. Let's say that Laura was introduced to Awake, which is Awake is the network of networks, right? So if Laura was introduced to Awake through, let us say Roger. Roger is not shown here. Okay, Roger is not in the picture. But Roger introduced Laura, and then Laura comes to us and starts doing something. Every sale that goes through, $100 sale, 66, about 50 basis points, it goes to Roger. The referrer,
That's the
for the
referrer.
person, the referrer earnings. Okay, the referrer is 50 basis points, roughly. Okay, roughly. So we're talking about like a LinkedIn effect. Yeah, LinkedIn is what? Just connecting people. But when you connect people, something happens. Whatever happens, you are getting 50 basis points on the dollar. We are paying that. Awake is paying that. Right? It's coming out of Awake's fee. Right? So this is why when the media company or like a newspaper or a magazine or something, one of our companies is called Newstype. This is a application of Shoptype. So we just take Shoptype. Shoptype is the base layer. Shoptype is the core functionality for all our companies. Why? Because everything is a market network. So this is a one-click way for any media company to become enabled by Shoptype. They don't need to know about Shoptype. They simply connect and they put the widgets and they start to make money directly by connecting their entire media company into a network market, which is a very much curated and controlled experience. Just to show how it works, this is actually powered by the same technology. This website is actually a media company. And we can take any media company and turn it into what you're saying, market network.
Hey guys, now can you see why I introduced Asher to Amit?
Yeah.
You have
Yes,
you
very
have two multinodal owners of networks that play to a multinodal marketplace. All right, and one thinks about media to consumer of next gen, Generation Z, and the other one is the e-commerce.
I wanted to show you something else. Yeah, I really liked Asher. I spoke to her, and she's another interesting person. Yeah, for sure. The powers combined, we can do some crazy stuff. Even Predicta, like what you have, Roger, like all the brand intelligence and all those pieces. I mean, when we start talking about second order, guys, like this is all first order. First order means like we're doing commerce facilitation, right? We're just straight up commission, cash flows. Yep. Second order is derivatives. When we start financing these people, right? Which is trivial because we see everything. We see more data than the CEO sees. Before the CEO knows what's going on, we have information on their supply chain, their social interactions, who's not buying stuff, what's not selling, how long payments are taking, who should not be a vendor anymore, right? And by the way, we can bring you alternate vendors from your supply chain and we get a commission.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, it's an emerging platform on top of which a real ecosystem of many different companies can find success stories written. and Predicta will be one of them. We finally have a technology that Bjornar and Jarl just got a demo of that is going to be completely ready, user generated, whether it's the producer, the consumer, or the co-seller, they will be able to generate analyses from their own perspective.
Yeah,
That's-
it seems to me like this is maybe a little bit cliche, but this is, like, Awake is like the new world meeting the old world, and Amazon is already the old world, because it fits really well with the dynamics that you have of the generations to come. And quite frankly, Amazon is more for like old farts like me and people that are even older.
I'm quite old.
So this really has a huge promise and potential. This is really cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think the way we went about it, and one last thing I'll mention, because Roger mentioned in the beginning, you saw the next generation of a few pieces. What you can't see is the technology behind it and the design of the architecture behind it. And why it is infinitely scalable is because it's a fractal information model, something very unique that we have developed ourselves, OpenTangle, which is the underlying infrastructure, right? Like a blockchain or like a DAG, directed acyclical graph, which in the case of fractal information models, because what is a fractal? Fractal is a very simple, description of a very complex structure, right? Because it repeats itself. So the world repeats itself. The whole universe is just a network of networks. Everyone's connected to the single internetwork of all networks, the internet. And no one has built the internetwork operating system, right? So what we have built or are building in process of all these pieces is that decentralized internetwork operating system of how networks of people will collaborate with each other, whether it's machines or humans. Right?
Yeah, now, listen, you guys, I'm going to have to go. But I wanted this to be a planting of the seed moment. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Jarl and Bjornar. I'm so happy that three of my friends and colleagues can meet each other. There's a confluence of rivers that are coming together, and I'm just happy as a clam because this is something that I've watched develop. It's been in the back of my mind with Predicta and how we can be part of the next generation e-commerce. Amit has helped steer Predicta. I haven't been bright enough to steer Amit, but I've certainly learned from him and introduce him to my favorite people. And that's all I wanted to accomplish today. But listen, I have to run.
Thank you.
Before we leave, Jarl, are you still coming into Bozeman?
Bjornar is not coming to Bozeman for a little while.
No, Jarl, are you still coming into Bozeman?
Oh, Jarl. Sorry, I thought it was Bjornar. No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. All right.
All my kids and then some decided to come to the lodge tonight. So I'm driving out to the airport tomorrow morning to fly to DC.
Yeah.
So it was a change because Emma and Brendan and my nephew Matt, and of course Emma's bringing a friend. So they're all coming down to the ranch this afternoon. So I'm going to have to stay put. Unfortunately, okay. I would love actually to go to Bozeman and stay by myself, but
well, you said all my kids and then some. What if some guy named Roger was the and then some? Could I join you guys?
Come on over. Love it. All right.
Hey, Amit, do you see that background over there? That's not a screensaver.
I do.
That is Jarl's view from where he is. It's you have to come visit Yellowstone country someday, Amit.
So totally. Roger, please come, but you gotta let me know because we're doing this amazing halibut dish tonight. So if you can make it, let me know and I'll cook up some for you too.
Oh, well, what kind of wine could I bring?
Anything that is very, very good and obscenely expensive.
Okay, count on that. What time can I show up?
6.
All right, perfect. We'll see you at 6.
All right, perfect.
All right, bye, guys.
Wonderful meeting you.
I have one last question for Amit, okay?
I can stick around. Yeah.
Yeah. So, where are you in your development when it comes to, I mean, is this self-financed? Do you have a lot of investors on board? Are you
No, so
seed stage, A
yeah, so
stage?
it's all
Where
self-financed.
are you at?
Yeah, self-financed so far, and we are in process of now, talking to people and bringing in the right people.
Yeah. So, really, I can't even remember what we started off at, and I'm sure Roger's told you about us. So we're starting a VC fund, and we're going to invest in companies like yours. We're investing in companies primarily that are entering the scaling phase, because we have a lot of experience in the scaling phase of things. And we're doing anything from product market fit pre-scaling to early scaling to scaling. All right.
Right.
We have a team of individuals that have a lot of experience. Personally, I at one time I actually used to run $10 billion of investments, and when I sat in Oslo, Norway, I was the chief investment officer of one of the biggest mutual funds there. I started. I was a founding partner of an investment bank in the mid '90s that was brought to fruition, and we sold it to a large bank. So I have personal startup experience, and I've been working a lot with startups. And we also have we're trying to do an ecosystem approach, where we not only invest and then that's it. We're using Roger and a host of other people, and we want to take an active role, invest where it is needed, give advice or coaching. We also have a side company, to put it that way, called Black Wolf Enterprises, where we're working with a separate set of people that help companies with distribution. So we want to have a side thing where needed, again, where you could tap into resources, whether it's organizational capital or financial capital, to help early stage companies also get market traction. And we're focusing on two markets, which is two geographies, which is North America and Northern Europe. And we're going to have an office in Oslo, Norway, to cover the Nordics and Northern Europe. And we have a network over there. I mean, when I had $10 billion under my wings, you may not get a lot of friends, but you sure get a lot of acquaintances. So we have a pretty extensive network, and we've been, so far, before this venture capital company that we're setting up, Bjorn and I have been helping Nordic companies get a foothold in the United States and grow their business in the United States. And we had we just jumped off our latest gig, which was a Norwegian critical event management company that is now trying to take the world under the wings. And so we are used to, working with companies that are entering new markets, that are entering the market and scaling their business. And Bjornar has worked for several companies from overseas and established a U.S. market presence and grown their company in the U.S. So that's the elevator pitch for our
Bifrost, yeah? That's right.
Yeah. So I mean, we would really like to keep in touch. Keep this.
Sure, absolutely.
going.
I mean, Roger is Roger also part of the group?
Yes, Roger is part of the venture capital company is called BCP, which is short for Bifrost Capital Partners. So BCP Ventures, and the fund itself is called BCP Blitz. From Reid Hoffman and Blitzscaling.
Right, of course.
Because you need to grow fast to maintain your edge and disrupt instead of getting disrupted yourself. So we are starting the first fund that is BCP Blitz, where we have Roger, Bjornar, and I, and a fourth guy. His name is John Lindstrom, who is also extremely experienced, both as a businessman and as an attorney. He worked. He was headed up Reuter Thompson or Thomson Reuters in Switzerland for like 10, 11 years. She's also got international experience, and the four of us are going to be the core team in teaming up with startups and early stage companies out there. And that's, as I said, the elevator speech when it comes to what we're trying to do.
Makes total sense. I mean, I've been talking to Roger now for a while, and we didn't have this technology built out, but the vision that I had, and I went through that whole blockchain crypto phase also in 2017, and really had to learn and unlearn all the unnecessary things.
Yeah.
Right? That was the main
thing. The last part is very important.
Right. That is the main thing, because you don't need blockchain. You don't need crypto. You don't need anything. Right. You just need clear thinking.
Yeah. No, I've been in the startup space more directly for the last 5-6 years. And there's been some great stuff. And I've also been involved in a phenomenal disaster. I mean, a complete disaster. And in as much as I hated to see what happened, and it cost me a lot of money privately, it was also one of the best schools I ever did.
You couldn't. That's what I'm talking about. I spent, I tell you, it's all been self-funded, but in 2017 and 18, early 18, I spent like almost $1 million of my. I'm not a rich guy, but I spent and wasted and learned, you might call it, the most expensive lessons of my life in building and trusting rubbish people and rubbish technology in the end. And learning the basics are always the same, and you don't need anything other than the basics.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. My spectacular failure, where I was not part of the founder team, but I worked very closely with this company and I raised money for them. The founder ended up going to jail, which is not fun. It was nothing to do with the company itself, thank God, but it had to do with some crap that happened like 5 years before he started this company. And the guy, I mean, we had this New York lawyer who's a beast run due diligence on this guy. And a lot of people did the DD on this guy, and he was able to keep it under the radar. So it was just like the most devastating thing I've ever been involved in, but it was a very good school. I wouldn't have wanted to be without the schooling, but I sure as hell would have wanted to be without losing all that money.
I know. Trust me. I went through like practically a depression, like after like that, like the 6 months or like 3 months. I was just like, I couldn't believe that happened to me. I was just like, what the fuck just happened, right? Yeah. And I was like a deer in headlights, not doing anything for like 6 months, like 3 months, 6 months, was like frozen. It was like, I can't believe that happened. Like, all I could think about was all that crap. Like, I was just like so pissed off at that. And then I just kind of had to realize that, it's a lesson, and, you can choose to do whatever you want at this point in life. You could stick to that old thing and just like never recover, or just like move on, So that's what happened.
No, that's great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to go through this with us. And, we'll stay in touch and we'll
my pleasure.
talk with Roger about things. But as I said, we'd love to maintain this dialogue and keep this dialogue going.
Absolutely. And just from your own timeline perspective, if I understand what Roger was saying, you guys are getting into business like next month-ish. That's your plan?
Yeah. We're hoping within 2 weeks actually to be very close to up and going, and then from then continuously raise money from there on.
Right.
And obviously, as part of what we're doing, it is extremely important to find good prospects for the investment portfolio. And you're very high on the list over people that we want to talk to, and hopefully this will happen kind of fast. You never know. There will be some surprises and maybe not so good surprises, but people we've talked to so far preliminarily, talking about what we want to do without even honing the message. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback. So I think we're on the right track.
Got it. Cool. Yeah. Excited for you guys. And Bjorn, lovely to meet you. You said Google, you were at Google?
No, he is just a Google fan.
Okay, got it. Okay, cool.
All
So
right.
really great to meet you, and excited to continue chatting.
Yeah, and we'll talk soon. Thank you so much, Amit. You have a
Yeah.
great day.
Appreciate your time today, guys. Yeah, have a
Thanks.
great day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.